is July 23rd. At that July 23rd meeting, we're going to have a pension committee meeting at 9 o'clock. Everybody's welcome to the committees, and like I said to our new board members, you'll be getting assigned. I'll be talking to you as one-on-one for your assignments. Audit and finance will be around 9:30, and if there's other committees, we'll change it at a point in time prior to the meeting. At that point, I need a motion to approve the regular minutes of the May 21st meeting.
So moved, Darlene.
Thank you, Darlene. Any questions? Second, Robert. All in favor? Aye.
Can I ask a quick question? I will be out of town at that time. Is this something I can call into, or?
We'll make that arrangement. So when you're enjoying yourself, we'll love to have you here.
I might have to come off the beach for a little.
All right.
The governor's extended the, typically at these meetings, prior to the pandemic, you could view or listen in by phone, but you couldn't vote unless you were present.
Okay.
Okay, because of the pandemic, all those rules are changed, and you can vote, as Darlene's doing remotely.
Okay.
That's been extended through July 7th. So if he extends that further, then yes, you can listen and vote remotely. If they don't extend it, then you can listen.
No problem, Anthony. No problem.
And they can only go out 30 days with their extensions.
At this point, I'd like Brian to introduce our new board members.
Yeah, this is a refreshing change. I mean, it's been a long time since we've had 10 of our 12 seats filled. So I want to welcome everybody. For those of you that weren't here for earlier meetings, we have Monty Flynn, Julius Lawrence, Anthony, but prefers Tony Davis, and Neil Burke. So thank you all. Welcome. Glad you got appointed.
Okay.
All right, moving on to my report.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
At this point, I think what makes the board's job, makes me happy, is this is part of a meeting. And at the last few months, we've been acknowledging some rock star, superstar employees. And we're very fortunate here at this authority. We've been blessed with some great employees. We've been blessed with employees that have served this authority for a number of years. Prior to today, we recognized a few employees with over 40 years of service. We're going to be recognizing someone today with over 32 years of service. Now, when you start thinking about that, it's well over 100 years, right? And I think as we move some of this generation through, less and less in the future are we going to see people make a commitment to one organization that long. I think we can all recognize this. So some of these recognitions that we gave and that we are going to give, like today, this is something that we won't see too often in the future. And I want to talk a little bit about one of our rock stars here. Longtime Central employee Dwayne Adams has served Syracuse community for 32 years. Dwayne started his career in June 1989 as a part-time bus operator. Think where you were in 1989, folks, okay? Some of our people around here probably weren't even in grammar school yet. So in May of '90, Dwayne became a full-time operator, a position he held until his recent retirement in June 1st of '21. During that time, Dwayne provided to be a highly reliable and dedicated operator, worked wherever he was needed. Imagine that, worked wherever he was needed and never questioning that. Wow, that's something I think we need to start teaching in kindergarten these days. Okay? True. He continued to go above and beyond. And that was one thing I liked in some of my notes here about you was above and beyond. Nobody told him to go above and beyond. He did it on his own. He did it on his own to ensure that the proper service levels were met because he cared about the people that he served. Please join me in congratulating Dwayne on his retirement and on his 32 years of dedication to the Syracuse community and our country. Dwayne, any comment? I know I'm not putting you on the spot here, but I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, no, it feels good being on the side. I got me up a little extra early today.
But once again, you're a rock star. Here you go.
Thank you, sir.
All right, on me. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Once again, thank you. You can introduce yourself. Okay. That's what makes our jobs here in this capacity well worth it. Okay, we're gonna go with our Chief Executive Officer's report. Mr. Schultz.
Everybody gets this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I have each month since the pandemic began, I summarized the use of our CARES Act funding and how we've been drawing it down. As of the end of May, we've drawn down about $29 million. So we still have a little bit of the CARES Act fund to remain. The next bullet is probably one of the best ones. For those of you that have been with us through the pandemic, you'll recall that number was in the 125 range, people that we were down. There was bus operators, it was mechanics, it was service cleaners, office staff, but we kept operating right through everything. And I'm just happy to report now we're at 2.
You know, I remember those meetings that we were having all the time, daily, whatever, and it kept going up. I was like, you know, God, this has gotta come at some point, it's gotta go the other way.
Yeah.
And we kept on taking more and more people out here, and I didn't think it was gonna ever end.
And it did, and the numbers started coming down, and then it spiked up again, and, you know, we were down in the 20s, and went back up to the 40s and 50s, so that was discouraging, but, happy to say we're at 2, so that's great. Bus rapid transit, this is something that's been on our agenda, I'm gonna continue to update, on a monthly basis. We put a companion, request in, as you recall from my last report, Congressman Katko, introduced to the House Transportation Committee to authorize $15 million towards, BRT, bus rapid transit. Senator Schumer, we put the same request in on the Senate Transportation side. We're still waiting to hear, if that's gonna be approved. Should that be approved, that's gonna be a huge, huge first step in us getting, BRT service on the road, in the coming years. I continue to meet with the NIPTA board. NIPTA is the New York Public Transportation Association. I'm on the board of that organization, and we meet on a monthly basis. This is the committee, or the association, that's the New York State. We have a federal companion, it's APTA, and this is the organizations, or these organizations that lobby on our behalf. They're in constant contact with our federal partners, they're in constant contact with our state partners. We meet very regularly to come up with a cohesive message. Years ago, it was, you know, we would put in our ask, and, you know, we might need money to close a funding gap or an operations gap, and Rochester or Buffalo might need a request to close a capital project. So what we decided to do years ago is come together as a group and go with one cohesive message. And what that message has been largely over the last couple of years is really to come up with a dedicated funding source so that we're not going around every February and begging for money. We're largely dependent on STOA, State Operating Assistance. Makes up almost half of our operating budget. But there's no dedicated funding source for that, so we are at the whim of whatever the legislative committees and the governor want to do. So we're really been pushing hard to come up with something dedicated so that we can budget more accurately and, or maybe predict future budgets more accurately. Equity analysis, anytime we have a significant change in service, up or down, so if you're adding a piece of service or you're eliminating service, or you have fare changes, you have to do what's called an equity analysis to make sure you're not impacting disproportionately impoverished or minority communities. So Steve Cagle is here. He's going to briefly discuss the equity analysis that was included in your board packet.
That's for the circulated bus route.
Yep.
Steve, why don't you introduce yourself with your title, too, please?
Morning, everybody. My name's Steve Cagle. I'm the Vice President of Business Development and Corporate Communications. I oversee our marketing, our customer service, and our route system. As Brian mentioned, we performed this equity analysis on the circulator route. Anytime you add a route, we like to perform one. It's really easy when you're adding service to an urban neighborhood where there's a significant portion of minority and low-income individuals. We add this service. It's a free service that's been operating since March. It easily passed the equity analysis and provides no disparate impact or disproportionate burden upon those individuals. We'll be doing more of these in the future. If there are changes to our service, you'll be seeing these. This is a very easy one. This is just for informational purposes for the board. It's required that the board review this and it be presented to the board.
You're gonna see more of these coming in the coming, 6, 12, 18 months. We do have a significant service change, or planning for it anyway, coming over the next, couple of years. So you're gonna see more and more of these. Go right in your report.
Okay, then I'll continue with my report. I'll begin with ridership. That's why we're here, to provide service for our community. Ridership at this point, we are in a post-pandemic rebound. It is a slow return. At one point, our ridership during the peak of the pandemic was down 85%. Currently, for the month of May, compared to May of 2019, pre-pandemic numbers, we are down 61% for the month of May. When you assess our core services in the cities that we serve, and you take out the services that we provide to the Board of Education, SUNY Oswego, and Syracuse University, that number is down about 50% compared to May of 2019. There were two fewer weekdays this month compared to 2019. So when you try to balance it out, it was probably a loss of ridership of about 45%. And we're seeing small gains as we move forward, but they are very small. This is going to be a long climb back up to where we were pre-pandemic.
Any questions for Steve at any point?
One of the changes I made back in April was at every board meeting, you're gonna be hearing from not just me, but the deputy CEO and each of the vice presidents, so that you can hear directly from them on what their departments are working on, and then ask them any questions. Thank you.
Can we go right into you wanna wait for the?
Oh, no, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, so part of Steve's role is overseeing the marketing department, who I can't say enough about them. The content that they produce, which they had a large role in that book I just handed out to the new board members. They took a document that was actually 3 different documents. Don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but it was a boring read. And they
Technical read.
It was a technical read. Okay, very good. So they, one of the things I charged them with was breathing some new life into this, making it more visually appealing, and they did it. And that book that was just handed out, the other board members got it previously, was done in-house. So just a great job, guys.
One of the challenges that we're facing right now is recruitment of employees. It's something that I think every company's dealing with in this post-pandemic world. So what we've done is we're putting together a campaign to attract individuals to work here, explain to them how it's a great place to work, and try to get more people into this organization. With that, I'm going to turn this over to our senior public outreach and marketing manager, Lynette Paduano, who's going to show you some really cool stuff that they put together to try to attract people to this
So
organization.
we're also having a problem with hiring individuals here, like you hear at other venues. We're having that same situation here.
Every community leader I talk to, every business leader I talk to, same thing. Nobody can find employees right now. We could literally, if they walked in the door tomorrow, I could put on 15 to 20 new bus operators and 5 to 7 new mechanics, 2 to 3 service cleaners. I mean, hire them tomorrow if they would show up and ask for a job.
You're gonna have a hard time finding drivers.
You can't find anything.
Really.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, I was noticing that when I was looking at how you hire your employees, that you start them at $19.96 per hour, right, something like that. How do you come up with that figure instead of $20 an hour? How do you come up with that figure?
It's contract based, so we have what's called topic grades, so under the contract that we're in right now, it's $24 and change. And then it takes you, currently, is it 4, Joe, or 3? 4 years to get there. So you start at 2160, then you get a bump after 6 months, a bump at 12, a bump at 24, a bump at 36, until you're finally a topic grade.
But you're starting about from an annual salary is about what, 51?
Yeah, so, you come in and you go through your, 8 to 12 week, 10 to 12 week training period, you're at that $19 range. But once you, what we call turn in, and you're out there driving a bus on the streets, you're at $21 and change an hour. So based on the hours that they work, 'cause it's not just a straight 40, there's overtime in almost every schedule. You're looking at a little over $50,000 a year, great health care. I already mentioned the 5%, dollar for dollar match into a retirement account.
Plus overtime if they want.
Right, and if they wanted to work overtime, we've got it. And it's just, I'm hoping that come September, they don't re-up the extra unemployment, or if they do, for the people that are truly unemployed and can't find work, that they at least make you start looking for work. That used to be the rule. You couldn't get an unemployment check unless you showed that you were out there looking for work. You don't have to do that anymore. You just go down and sign up for it and you get it. And you get the extra $300 that it is now. So hopefully if that goes away, that will encourage people just to get back out into the workforce and apply for these jobs. But this is what we're doing to try to attract people to come and apply.
Turn the mic off, Chris.
Hold on. I have to talk to the people.
We had to hide her microphone.
Okay. And my title too. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Lynette Piguano. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager and Public Outreach Manager here at Centro. And Centro, like many organizations, as we've discussed, is experiencing areas where we need to expand our resources, job positions here. Right now, we are actively looking for bus operators, mechanics, and our servicers and cleaners. So the marketing department has embarked on a pretty aggressive recruiting campaign where we are trying to fill those positions using a number of vehicles. We are placing some advertisements on our fleet. We are also putting an exterior billboard on the facade of our Syracuse Transit Hub along the South Salina Street corridor. We are positioning billboards throughout the community in strategic locations. We are launching some pretty aggressive social media campaigns, and last but not least, we are launching a video. Now, before we show the video, I want to say a couple words about that, because you guys have already patted me on the back a little bit, so I'm going to pat some other people on the back. This video, I am very proud to say, was written, it was filmed, it was directed, and it was produced, all in-house. And it features our very own Centro employees. Yeah, it was pretty exciting. A lot of time and energy and effort went into this, and I would like to say thank you to all of those individuals who participated. Casey Brown did the filming on this, my partner in crime over here. We had a lot of retakes, reshoots, a lot of patience was needed, a lot going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So a 60-second video can take weeks to pull together. All right, I'd also like to acknowledge our operations and maintenance departments who helped us get this all together. We had to facilitate the actual shooting locations where we filmed. We had to get buses ready, camera ready. Sometimes they get real dirty out there. So our servicers and cleaners did an excellent job getting those ready and adjusting work schedules and accommodating for the reshoots. So I want to say thank you to everyone who participated in this. We are extremely proud of what we're about to show you, and we hope that after you take a look at it, you also will be proud.
Very good, very nice, nice
Thank
work
you.
done.
Thank you very much.
And that's also broken down, so that'll be on our YouTube. It's also broken down into a 30-second and a 10-second.
And a 15-second.
That can be used, you know, it might be a quick 15-second ad on the News Channel 9 in between their segments, or a 30-second spot, so, we're gonna be out there aggressively trying to fill these positions. Cause we've got service we wanna put on the street, it's planned, it's ready to go, but we don't have the operators. During the summer, we do, because we have, you know, SU service is down, Syracuse City School District isn't running buses, so the operators that were doing that, you know, we're okay right now. But come September, or actually come August, when we're running the fair service and when SU's back up and the city school district comes back, we're gonna be in the same bind we were in April and May of this year. So we've gotta find some drivers.
So you mentioned training for bus operators in particular. Do they have to come with a particular license, or do you actually help them get them?
We help them get them, they have to have their CDL permit.
Permit, okay.
When they come here, but we teach them how to drive the vehicle and get their CDL.
Nice.
And we pay them public.
Clean driving record, clean driving record is in, they do a background check, GED or equivalent.
Do you also offer bonus for these, drivers who are coming on? 'Cause I was thinking like,
It's a sticky wicket, so.
Yeah,
We went round and round, and we wanted to because, Chris has got a friend that works at Cisco, and they're offering $10,000 bonuses for, people that come on to be truck drivers at Cisco. The union is not in favor of that, because if you're gonna give a bonus to somebody, you gotta give it to everybody. So what we have started doing is a referral bonus. So if you refer somebody, and sorry, you guys are not able to participate. I can see the wheels spinning. If you refer somebody, you get a $1,000 bonus, in 2 different stages, so, you know, when they come on, and then when they actually start operating, you get a bonus. So we are doing that for our existing employees, if they know somebody, hopefully that'll get them talking about, you know, Central and the job opportunities that are here.
are you also participating with like the groups, like, you know, our TNT program, we, have people come on and talk about the employer hiring and stuff like that.
Yep.
We was inviting Central to come to our group. Hopefully we're gonna start personal meeting like this again and explain some of the job that you are.
Yeah, we participate in the Southwest Community Corridor, Onondaga County Livability. Mike Atkins has his 100 Black Men group. We've talked to him. I'm reaching out to Tim Penix at EOC. You know, so it's just, we just want to get the word out there until they're tired of hearing from us. Until they're tired of hearing from us that we need operators.
We wanna make sure we get them, because Brian and I both drove bus before, and I don't think we wanna get us on the road, do we?
No, but you know, you laugh about that, and I've got guys in this room that, you know, Jeff, Chris, Mike Robinson in operations, these guys, and we get a day, typically it's gonna be a Monday or a Friday, because they want the long weekend, where they call in sick, and there's nothing we can do about it, so I've got guys that are, you know, down in their Central polo shirt, and they're out there driving buses. So we're doing whatever we can, but we'll get there.
That was good, very good, nice job, nice job.
Very nice.
Nice job.
All right, next, Chris Tuff, Deputy CEO.
I'll be talking to you more.
Thanks, Brian. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members of the board. You're going to see a reoccurring theme, of course, lately with employees and recruitment. So just to bring the board up to speed, we started back in April 1st. We launched a employee incentive.
Excuse me, Chris, is Darlene?
She's good. Darlene is back
Okay,
out.
okay, very good.
So, of course, Chris Tuff, Deputy CEO, sorry for the introduction, but back in April, we decided, and at the task of Brian, we put together an employee recognition incentive program, which was part of Dwayne's presentation today, to recognize longevity, going above and beyond, productivity, which the productivity portion focuses on attendance, accidents, absenteeism, discipline, and then customer service complaints, just to give brief for the new board members. So what we did is launch this on April 1st. So prior, we have an Operator of the Month program. We didn't have a Maintenance Employee of the Month program. We didn't do anything on the salaried side to recognize that. So this program encompasses everybody to show recognition for their duties of going above and beyond.
You did do a perfect attendance.
Yes, so we have a perfect attendance award, we have a perfect driving safety reward that we do. So this actually increased that. So as Brian's point with the perfect attendance award, if you had perfect attendance, you got $10 for the entire year. And then if you did it multiple years, we multiplied that by the number of years you got it. So in this case, I had him sign the letters when we put them out, because.
So I'm signing the letter that says you're gonna get a $10 check, and I looked at it and I said, we've gotta fix this.
Yeah. So we've put together a robust program, Susanna shared, and part of the strategic plan, you'll see it in there as one of our goals, is to increase employee engagement and the program. So this is what it is. We've called it the RPM program, which is reaching productivity milestones. So we've increased the operator of the month to be an operator of the quarter. It made it a little more robust. They get $350 for reaching that goal, and meeting those 4 criteria for that quarter. But then we also increased, we have an operator of the year, a mechanic of the year, and a mechanic of the quarter. So in order to make the operator of the year and mechanic of the quarter, we had to assess the first 3 months of this year, even though we're not gonna do a payout, but we wanted to do a benchmark. So for the first 3 months of the quarter, just so the board is aware of the benchmark, and then going forward, the next quarter will be April, May, and June, which we'll do an award in July. We're gonna ask the board to probably participate in that, as far as recognizing the operator of the quarter and the mechanic of the quarter. We had 178 operators meet some level of productivity during the first 3 months of the year without even knowing that this program was out there. So that's a good achievement for not recognizing them or making them aware of it. And we had 36 maintenance employees. Hopefully that increases. Their productivity was a little different as far as their work orders compared to what the maintenance or the operators have to do. So overall, it was 214 union members that would be recognized without having this award, which would have paid out close to $29,000 in productivity bonuses. So meeting those 4 criteria, even though you may not be the operator of the quarter, you still get a bonus. So meeting your quarterly productivity goals, every employee is eligible for something. So we're hoping by putting light to this program, it'll increase the morale for the drivers, getting longevity out of our mechanics and operators, and in theory, with less accidents, increased attendance, it would pay for itself. So that's our goal, and that's our focus, to just put it in the perspective of the 214 union members. Currently, company-wide, we operate at just about 500 members between the 4 properties, or all 5 properties. With Oswego, Auburn, and then Utica and Rome have both their facilities. So I just wanted to update the board on that, and you're gonna hear more about that through the governance committee meetings and through just a regular board meeting. But we just wanted to recognize that and give a benchmark, so that next month, hopefully we have the calculations done and the board can
This
participate.
is where we're reinvesting with our people.
Correct.
To retain them, because then we gotta talk about retention.
And that's, retention's part of it, but the other message we wanted to send too was, don't come during negotiations and ask for a 2 or 3 or 4% raise. So you get your 2% raise in your contract, but we're going to give financial consideration to those that are adding positively to the bottom line of this company. Okay, if you're constantly calling it sick, you're not gonna meet the hours worked category. If you're constantly driving poorly, and even if it's a little fender bender, you clip a mirror when you're driving through the garage, that costs us $1,000. So if we can get people to drive safer, we can get people to show up more for work, it's gonna add that this program will pay for itself. Reduced overtime, reduced accidents, and that's the goal.
Thank you.
Jackie?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I am Jackie Musango, the Vice President of Human Resources here at Centro. Oh, I thought you said something to me. Today I just want to talk to you about a couple of different topics. First being COVID, since we went through it for over a year now. As you probably are fully aware, the governor announced on Monday that he was going to be lifting all the COVID-19 mandates, especially for fully vaccinated employees. However, though, the federal CDC guidelines still require public transit and unvaccinated employees or individuals to wear masks. So therefore, on Wednesday, Centro amended our COVID-19 policy, in which any vaccinated employee now does not have to wear a mask while in our central buildings. Any unvaccinated employees still has to wear a mask in our buildings, and of course, our bus operators have to wear masks while operating the transit vehicles on our roads. Another announcement that Governor Cuomo made was that any vaccinated individual who receives their first vaccination between June 15th and July 14th would receive a 7-day unlimited ride pass for transportation. So what we have done, and we have been doing, is we've been holding vaccination clinics down at our Syracuse hub for the public. And there is going to be another public vaccination clinic held on June 24th, in which anybody can receive the Johnson & Johnson vaccine and also receive a 7-day unlimited pass with that.
No
So,
appointments, just walk in.
Yep, yep. Any questions on that?
So how's that gonna work? I go in, get my vaccination, you're gonna give me a pass?
Yes, yep, we'll take down all your information and we log it, and then we provide you with a 7-day unlimited ride pass. And even people that have been previously vaccinated as of like Monday, if they can show proof that they've received their first vaccination as of Monday, they can come down to the central hub and give their proof of identification or receiving the vaccine, and then they'll receive a 7-day max pass also. So, yes.
Are you in the process of reopening the hub again for the public?
We did that back in May.
Yep.
Just for the restrooms.
Yep.
So we figured the weather was nicer, so starting in May, we would give access to the restrooms, and then we'll revisit that as the weather starts turning, and if, maybe get people in out of the elements.
Is Johnson & Johnson the only one that you're going to provide?
At the Syracuse location hub, yes.
So we want it
That's
to be
the
a
only one.
one-shot deal.
Yeah, because that's about 80% effective, right, John?
Right, right.
State site's still open and the county site's still open. So
Just out of operating, yeah, it's gonna be easy for us just to give the pass than try to have the state reimburse us, so. We're just gonna, it's about a $20 value for each person.
Okay, going on, as you've heard today, a number of discussions about recruitment. So I'm just gonna give you a little bit of an update on what Human Resources has been doing in order to recruit, our drivers, mechanics, cleaner servicers, even salaried positions in the company that we've had trouble recruiting for. We attended a Central New York virtual career fair on June 3rd, which was presented by the New York State Department of Labor, which partnered with 4 counties of Onondaga, Cayuga, Portland, and Oswego to focus on opportunities that were in high demand. We did have 50 visitors who went to our virtual site, and we actually received some resumes from that. So all in all, I mean, for the first time us participating in a virtual fair, it was kind of, it was good. It was a good turnout. We were happy with it. We are going to be participating in another virtual career fair through Jobs Plus that will be going on sometime later this year. And the other thing that we did is we have become a member of Handshake. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with this or not.
Handshake?
Handshake, yep,
Probably not,
Handshake.
'cause you couldn't shake hands for the last year and a
Well,
half.
well, this is actually new to me too, but my recruitment department really, worked on this. It's actually a recruiting website for colleges, in which we basically, as Central, request information, to participate with all the different colleges around New York State. They accept our request, and then we can post any job openings and opportunities that we have at these colleges. So it's almost like an Indeed for colleges, but it reaches right directly out to the colleges. So you
I've heard it.
probably
I'm
know
aware of it, yeah.
of it, Nick.
Goes into the pro.
So,
Right. Yep.
So, but, I mean,
That's
we
great.
do have some technical colleges that
Yeah.
Mooresville already accepted.
Good.
So, you know, we can get, you know, mechanical positions out there and
Probably
maybe.
SUNY Canton, you wanna make sure too, cause they have a mechanics program up there.
Yep,
So that
Yeah.
would be my question, with any, between Onondaga, Morrisville, Canton, the community colleges that have, auto programs, because those are mechanics,
Mhm.
Right.
to me, and they're gonna need jobs.
yep,
Just,
absolutely. Absolutely, so. And that concludes my report. If anybody has any questions?
Have you thought about doing something at the Destiny, you know, some type of,
We have, the one virtual fair that was at Destiny, I believe it was for all of the Destiny,
Tenants. yeah.
tenants, thank you, that were there. So we didn't go to that, but if there are more coming up, we will definitely be there. I mean, any virtual fairs or any fairs in person that we can, you know, we know about, we'll get there.
you can also operate on Nextdoor, there's a site called Nextdoor.
Okay.
Website, you know, you can do it, I think nextdoor.com, something like that.
Okay, I will have my team look into it.
Is it starting age for central jobs?
For bus operators, it is 21.
What about mechanics?
Mechanics, I don't,
It's 18, but if you're gonna get a Class A, you have to be 21.
right. So most is like 21. I mean, cleaner servicers would be an exception, well, we
18.
need,
I think it'd be 18, because you gotta be able to get a CDL.
right,
Well,
Reason we have
Syracuse
the
has a
21
career
is-
technical education program with auto mechanics and things like that, so that's another pool of younger,
Yep.
students who, many of them will be 18 by the time they graduate.
Yeah, the 21 requirement on the bus operators, because we're looking for 5 years of
Sure.
driving, so you get your license at 16.
Yeah.
I know we would be willing with the TNT program to have someone from Central come and represent you on the TNT program.
Excellent.
We'll be
Sure.
there.
sure, just let us know when and I'll send somebody over there.
I give Tina, I can't pronounce the last name, but the city, she has that information, I can send the information to you.
Okay, that would be great. I'll get you my card before
Okay, and
you
I'll send
leave
you
today,
everything.
and you'll have my direct contact information, okay? Anything else?
Thanks, Jay.
Very
Thank
good-
you.
Good job, Jeff.
Jeff? Good morning, everybody. I'm Jeff Hoff, Vice President of Fleet and Facilities. I just want to start I'm going to use an acronym called CNG, which is compressed natural gas. Several months ago, we brought to the board a portable compressed natural gas station, which is going to be used or preparation for our rehabilitation of our CNG station. Our CNG station has been in effect since 1997. It's well over 20 years old. It still runs, but it's starting to really fail. There's 3 engines in there that compress gas, and there needs to be 2 running at any given time to actually get the fleet done on a nightly basis. The skid is a standalone gas engine, very similar to the ones we have, compressing natural gas up to 3,600 PSI. It's built in a trailer, so it's portable, which is really nice. And as mentioned, it can do the 3,600 PSI and fill the bus within 3 to 5 minutes. The skid is now operational, and it's in effect. Side note, Syracuse has 137 CNG buses in the fleet. We run 100% CNG here on our property. The outside properties, Auburn, Oswego, Utica, and Rome, have clean diesel buses. Caitlin next month will bring into the board the CNG station upgrade. And once that is awarded, it's gonna take up to 3 months, if not longer, to get that going. So the CNG station, our portable skid is gonna be there to help out when one of those ones breaks or anything might happen, so we're good there. And lastly, the portable skid is gonna be able to go to the fair. We're hoping this is gonna be the case. We can use it at the fairgrounds to fill up buses if there is a shortage on the bus, if it runs low. They run all day and come to the night, they usually need to be topped off, we have to send it back to here to get them filled up, so. Okay. And that's all I have for today.
Any questions? Robert?
From a finance point, since I've been on the board, periodically we have to go and get the federal tax credit for this. How's that look in the future?
That was reauthorized, we just got that at the the end of the last fiscal was around 550, 560?
Yeah, a little under 5, yeah.
So 500,000. So because we use CNG, the federal government gives us a clean fuel tax rebate. So to apply against the cost of the compressed natural gas.
And the appetite's still there to keep giving that out.
Very much so.
Good.
Mike?
Good morning. My name is Mike Fitzgibbons. I'm the IT VP, Information Technology. And I'm going to share with you a little bit about what we do, and then I'll get into a major project. As IT, we get involved with all different kinds of things, communication-wise, data-wise, protection, control, and so on and so forth. Pretty much involved with every department and all of the locations that we have, so it can be quite diverse. As such, we get involved in different projects, and a big project that we're working on right now is replacing our maintenance program. We have a maintenance program called Jackware, which has been around for, well, it was installed in the early 1980s. Well customized for us along the way, but the owner, Jeff Jacobowski, has retired and is no longer supporting this application. Gives us an opportunity to modernize that program. So after developing specifications, going out to bid, we actually approved a company called Recruitment, and they gave us a program called Maintenance Connection. It's a web-based application which allows us to have the maintenance mechanics, if you will, from their bays working on work orders directly, paperlessly, as well as assigned parts and all that kind of stuff. Below reorder points can be done through this application. Inventory systems, facility maintenance can be part of this process with all the different things that they're involved in as well too. So it's a really neat program to see it come into place. Last week we had Dave Smith from Recruitment here. He demonstrated a lot of the applications for the people, and kind of gave us some different directions on what it is that we're trying to work on. There's like 3 different silos of things we're working on with it. Maintenance repair centers, which has shops. We also have assets, which lists all of the different types of assets that we have and controlling all those assets. And then within those, there's classifications and specifications and so on. It can be somewhat complicated in the process, taking the old information that we have and migrating it over to this. So it's a challenge. We are in a test mode right now. Dave did upload our facilities information last week, and he did demonstrate what it can do for a variety of different departments. So you can imagine the team is pretty much involved with maintenance mechanics themselves, the storeroom folks, accounting, procurement, IT. It's a pretty far-reaching program. Feedback from Dave being here last week, one of the things we had them do was meet with our foreman, and the foreman feedback was, hey, this is going to be simpler than what we have right now. It looks like it's going to be easy. And on the other side, Dave got a better understanding of who we are and how we actually operate. So I think he'll be able to better help us in that process. We hope to be within the next couple of weeks in what we call a soft mode. Our maintenance guys, John Boylan right now, is working on getting some of that information uploaded into our system where we can actually see it, test it, do preventative maintenance programs, do work orders, and follow everything right through. So hopefully within the next 2 or 3 months, we'll actually be live, going live with this program. It's a big program, it's a big change, but I think it's well time spent.
Questions?
Yeah, I have one question. This may not have anything to do with your department, but when I look at technology, I'm thinking about GMA Wireless, which is being built right across the street from you. Is that part of your contact there with them?
I don't have any contact with them.
No, we were in touch with them early on because of the street closure that's happening and how that would affect our service. One of the things we found was that by closing off Cortland Ave where it feeds into Salina Street, our buses are now coming up Cortland, turning right onto Tallman, and then having to make a left-hand turn through traffic. So they are going to be installing a temporary light here, hopefully in the next week.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the temporary will turn into a permanent light to make that turn easier.
Are you going in all your Oswego?
Yes, all of our facilities. Yeah, which there's, we talked about Rome and Utica and Oswego, and we also have other facilities, the RTC, which you heard about earlier today. There's the transfer hubs, and there's even a small transfer hub in Rome that we're going to be in all those as well too.
Yeah, it's going to help with inventory control, Joe DeGray and his team are working with the outer properties and consolidating some of the work they do there, so a lot of our tires will be done here and then shipped out rather than having a tire specialist at each property. So we're consolidating a lot of that, and then this is gonna make it easier.
Any more questions? Good, nice report.
Thank you. My last two VPs will present their reports as they go through here when we do audit, finance, and operations.
Okay, very good. Good report, folks. Okay, we're gonna go, report out an audit and finance committee agenda. This was all discussed in detail in committee. So, the first thing with the audit and finance committee, the motion was approved to bring it to the full board for adoption, to approve the draft audited financial statement prepared by Bonadeo. Motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. At this point, I need a motion. Luella, any questions? Second?
Darlene?
Tony? Tony's correct on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Motion 2, motion was made in committee to bring it to the full board for approval. Summary financial information section of the PAL 2800 annual report. Motion was made. At this point, I need a motion. Okay, Monty, any questions? Second, Luella, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion 3 was the annual PAL 2925 investment report and investment guidelines. Motion was made in the committee meeting to bring it to the full board for approval. At this point, I need a motion.
So moved, Darlene?
Julius, any questions? Darlene, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion 4 was the annual PDL 2079-2024 procurement report. Motion was made in committee, bring it to the full board for approval. At this point, I need a motion to adopt this.
So moved.
Okay, Darlene, any questions? Second. Monty, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion 5, procurement manual updates. Motion was made in committee, bring it to the full board for approval. At this point, I need a motion.
So moved.
Tony, any questions? Second.
Darlene?
Darlene, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Darlene, thanks for your participation in the world of wherever you are right now. Thank you. All right. Motion 6, guidelines regarding the disposition of property. Motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. At this point, I need a motion. Luella, second.
So moved.
Neil? All in
Darlene?
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Jeff Maloff came and gave us a overview on our ITC insurance. This is something that I thought was, some of his comments were pretty good as far as what's going on in the insurance industry with all the catastrophic situations. And this policy, which I think Bob pointed out, we had a 7% increase, so something I think we need to watch and plan for in the future. I think insurance costs, I think we all think insurance costs most likely are gonna go up. So, that being said, a motion was made to accept the presentation for a policy renewal. At this point, I need a motion at the full board to move this.
So moved.
Bob, questions? Second? Julius, all in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. Okay, resolutions. The to accept the 2022 annual subsidy payments. Motion was made to accept that, bring it to the full board for approval. Need a motion, please. Monty, any questions?
So moved.
Second? Darlene?
Darlene?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Tara brought forward resolution to ratify the service contract with Onondaga County Department of Adult and Long-Term Care Services for our call bus service. Motion was made to accept that resolution. At this point, I need a motion, please. Okay, Luella, any questions? Second? All in favor? Aye. And then finally,
Aye.
for an FYI, Susanna updated us on some internal control report out. So we had to report out from the auditors, now we had to report out on the internal individual, so I think we're all audited out right now. So that was just an FYI. That concludes our Audit and Finance Committee report. Moving on to Mr. DeGray, our operations report, which is, let me just show you Joe's report here, just to make sure we got it. Thank you.
Well, mine's hard to find, it's only a single page. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our first topic is a contract vote that took place recently. I'm going to give a little background for the new members before I get into the details of what took place with that vote. As you heard from Chris earlier, approximately 500 of our employees are represented by unions. And our largest collective bargaining agreement covers Onondaga, Cayuga, and Oswego counties. And that is the contract I'm going to speak about today. We've been negotiating for about the past 7 months. We came up with what we believed was a very competitive and fiscally responsible contract that we thought would do well with the membership, or in this case, the employees of Centro. Unfortunately for us, the timing was not perfect. The board that we negotiated with was voted out on June 4th. We negotiated this contract and signed a tentative agreement on May 4th, May 6th. And so unfortunately, the new board members that came in for the union, which is ATU 580, Amalgamated Transit Union, felt that that contract was not sufficient enough and really did a pretty good job of being negative about what we had come up with. Unfortunately, it did not pass on June 14th, so we are going to be going back to the table. The new board takes over officially on July 1st, so we'll be reaching out to them very shortly. We did have a quick meeting with them in trying to get their understanding of what was wrong with the contract. It really didn't provide a lot of information. Because it's a hard thing to do, to come up with something that makes sense for your employees, but that you can pay for financially, and without breaking the bank. And we thought we did a good job of that, and both sides, obviously, we agreed to it, felt that we had done the same. So it's gonna be interesting going forward. We'll keep you abreast of all the information.
It's not too common where you negotiate with one group, then that group got voted out.
Yeah, it's very rare. It was a bad timing issue.
It's not like a common thing, at least in my career.
It was a very bad timing issue for us. My belief is, and we're gonna meet on Monday, Brian, Chris, and the team that negotiates. I don't see us coming off our platform that we started with. We feel it's fair.
Let's try to move forward, which I know we are, and we all carry the same flag here.
Absolutely.
I think we all carry the same flag, represented or non-represented. Same flag.
We're employees of Centro first and foremost, so our goal is to get this passed and keep things moving.
Good luck.
Thank you. State Fair, as many of you know, and even for the newer members, we provide a very vital service to the fair, whether it's on their campus, if you will, the Orange Lot, Willis Ave. We provide shuttle service. We also provide park and rides around neighboring areas to provide services to get to the fair and back home. We've met with the fair a couple of times. Obviously, the pandemic has made some changes, and now the governor's come out and really kind of opened things back up. So we have another meeting on June 30th. We thought we'd have some finalization by July 1st as to what our role was going to be this year. That may change a little bit. However, as you've heard from the theme of today's meeting, workforce is a different. So we can only provide what we can provide, and that seems simple. But we have an obligation to our community to serve that first and foremost. Everything else we do has to come second. We have an obligation to our community. And a lot of people don't realize that we don't shut down during the fair. We actually run a full service on top of running the fair, on top of going to SU. Perhaps a carrier dome event occasionally gets thrown in during the fair. So we do that over and above, and our employees rise to that occasion. Unfortunately, it's going to be a volume issue for us in regard to maintenance and, more importantly, operators to see how much we can provide. So as we get closer, we'll update you on that and let you know exactly how we're gonna handle it.
Do you bring people out of retirement? I mean, I'm serious, to drivers. For 2 weeks.
Can you do a temporary workforce?
Well, we do have retirees that do come back and work for us on a part-time basis. It's voluntary. Some of them make that decision. Some of them, you know, a lot of them move out of state, go to different places. They got family in other areas. But we've had as many as 24 retirees work for us at any given time. Right now, I think we're around 15 ballpark.
I mean, focusing on the fair time.
Absolutely. You're correct. In a lot of our smaller properties, as an example, Auburn and Oswego, actually have people that really just are around for the fair time. They kind of hang on. We recertify them to get their proper certifications and put them back to work. So it is something we look at and we continue to do so.
One question. I noticed that during the fair time or something like that, you get buses from other, like Rochester.
We have, and that is, can be problematic, and it's not necessarily for us. The fair has to, if there's procurement issues, there's different things you have to do. And their availability, they're also hurting on a workforce side. So we've done it in the past. Rochester, Buffalo, and Albany have been here in different occasions during the fair and provided some vital service for us. And have helped with that, but it's, it comes at a cost, like anything else does. They need to get they need to get reimbursed just like we do. So we've tried a lot of different ways. This year is, again, coming out of not having one in 2020, going into 21, and now with the governor's, changes of kind of being pretty much open. I think there's going to be a few restrictions, but not many. And the 18 days, which is another aspect. Additional 5 days of, everybody's going to be trying to find employees, and not just us. You've got the vendors and the parking lot, the parking companies, and all those people as well are going to be struggling to find that 18-day window of opportunity to serve their side of the business. So
Even though it was a
we'll keep you updated.
13-day fair, every bus in the fleet was out there.
Yeah.
We're pulling from other properties. We had people from the accounting staff, the procurement staff. Everybody was out there working, parking rides and ticket taking, and it's a strenuous 13
Well, you
days for us.
mentioned also about, you're gonna have, the gas, where they bust some gas up at the state fair because of that's constantly.
Yeah, the fueling, what Jeff had mentioned is we have a portable station. That station can fuel approximately 3 to 5 buses, depending on how much fuel's in it, and we'd have to bring it back and refuel it. But what it would help us with is keep that bus on the road. So kind of like if you've ever seen the Air Force, they can fly planes, but then they can bring a fuel plane to you.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same concept.
Yeah.
You can only have carry so much fuel on a fuel plane. We can only carry so much fuel in that unit, so we'd have to bring it back and forth. But it would help keep buses on the road and not lose the momentum you have in trying to move a lot of people at a given time. I mean, the 13-day fair, total passengers, not total customers, but total passengers, we generally exceed somewhere between 550 and 600,000 people, just for that service. So we're moving a lot of people, and more importantly, we're moving a lot of people that normally don't use us. So when, things come around is you hear about, well, we need more money, or you need this, or you need that. It's important to have not just your dependent customers, but your choice ride customers understand the importance of how we serve this community and what that means to them, even if it's only for the fair. Or the carrier don't, there's only certain times we touch certain people, but they recognize the importance of what we do, so it's a good thing. Last but not least, one of the things we do here in particular is not just succession planning, but anytime a person leaves this company, as Brian would like us to do, is to review the job and determine, does that job need to stay? Does it need to be altered? Can it be consolidated? We had a recent person leave in our paratransit department, which is all of us. We reviewed that position and made some determinations that our current manager of our customer service office, Marquita Williams, who's been here a long time and is a great long-standing employee, presented an opportunity for us to move her into the paratransit side as well. So we've done that. very excited about the position, because she could bring her expertise in customer service into that office, which they are they are customers that require a lot of service. Why? Because of the situation that they're in. So we owe it to them to give them the best service we can. So it's really been a good move for us and for her, and we're looking forward to continued success with that.
One more thing, that call of us. I noticed, I talked to a lot of seniors and stuff, right, I'm a senior myself, so. And I don't, some of them don't understand the call of us system, when you get that call.
Well, there's varying ways we do it. Obviously, there's our webpage provides a lot of good service. You can call the number directly and speak to an agent, to a customer service rep, and we can explain that to them. As you heard earlier from Tara, we have the money that we get from the county, the $400,000. That provides services, as Tara mentioned, to anyone over the age of 60 within the county. You're allowed 2 rides a month through that system to help you get to things like doctor's appointments, maybe perhaps a grocery store, things like that. But you don't need to be eligible to call us to qualify. Call of us is a different qualification. There's an application process. So it's based on a variety of things, whether it's your physical abilities, perhaps a mental situation, barriers, like we talked about earlier with our attorney on the bus stops. There is a bus stop, but I physically can't get there. The sidewalk doesn't exist, or there's some reason you can't get there. So there's a variety of reasons as to why you would qualify for Call of Us. So it's an important service. It is complementary to our fixed route. It runs the same hours, the same days, to provide as close to equal access as you can for all of our riders. And we carry, in a normal year, we carry about 160,000 people a year through the Call of Us program.
Okay. In the past, I was told, my understanding was that service saves Onondaga County a lot of money with the Medicaid reimbursement.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so the taxpayer of Onondaga County saving a lot of money.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of money, 400,000, but over the course of 3 years, you're getting 2 rides a month. It's, it does provide a critical service, but it's not as much as people might think with 400,000.
No, but I mean, if they didn't take the call of.
Oh, if they're going in cabs or going in private cars, it would be a much greater, they'd probably be at 800,000 or 900,000 for the same service.
It's the most expensive service we have on the road, but it's also probably the most vital. I mean, the folks that ride that Call of Us really have no other way to get from point A to point B.
Good. Any questions for Joe? Okay, that was good. That was a good report there. Mr. Hardick, report out on legal committee.
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The legal committee met this morning. We went into executive session where a specific matter of litigation was discussed and no action was taken. Additionally, we voted to recommend up to the board a increase for 2% retroactive to April 1st.
Okay, at this point, then committee makes a recommendation of a 2% retroactive to April 1st. I need a salary staff. I need a motion from the full board. Luella, any questions? Second? Robert?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Very good, thanks, Joe.
That concludes that report.
I just have one question, more of housekeeping for Jackie. With the new lift on everything, is the authority asking or requiring people that have those shot cards to be housed in HR? Are you accepting those or no?
The only thing that they are doing is they are looking, you mean to get the 7-day pass?
Well, no, I mean, so we have, say you have a card, our employees right now, okay? Do you,
We have not asked to see those cards at all.
okay. I
So
was just
what
curious.
we have done is, the only thing that we are doing is, we are doing a questionnaire to see if anybody has been vaccinated or not. And we're going to continue that twice a month because we have to report that to the NTD monthly on who's vaccinated and who's unvaccinated.
National Transit Database is part of the
Sorry.
FTA,
Okay.
Federal Transit Authority.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna get a book about that thing.
Sorry.
Good, now I was.
We have acronyms for acronyms.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that earlier, but when we didn't have to wear the mask in here, I was so in shock, I didn't even know how to handle myself, so.
Yeah, so we lifted the mask requirement, we lifted the sign-in, so you used to come in, you'd have an iPad, find your name, answer 2 COVID questions, you know, are you feeling symptomatic, you do a temperature check, and then one of the questions we added was, have you been fully vaccinated? So that isn't taking place anymore, but twice a month, we are gonna be doing that questionnaire just on the vaccine, because we have to report that to the FDA.
Yep, good, no, thank you. Is there any other old business at hand? Any new business? Any comments? Would this core 4, this new core 4 come back? We kept you overtime, I'll take your overtime cards after, right? Okay.
We'll double your pay.
Just for today. Okay.
$10.
All right, I wanna thank everybody and, motion for adjournment. Okay, so moved. Okay.
Thanks, Darlene.